Well, thank you for coming and taking the time to talk to me on this beautiful North Georgia day here at mile 69 at Dix Creek Gap. Is that where you're at on trail?
It is, yes.
Sweet. So let's kind of just start with some of the basic things. Where are you from? What's your name?
My real name, my trail name.
How about both?
Both names. My name is Jillian Lowe. Trail name Pinto, like the horse. See Animal House movie caption here. I'm from Bristow, Virginia, 45 minutes outside of DC, west of DC.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I know the Shenandoah Valley is in that area. My fiance is actually from the Ashburn area and around DC. Did you ever get on any hikes in that area?
Yes. Old Rag, which is out in Madison County, was one of my favorite ones. It was about a 7 or 8 mile climb to the top, and with some rock scrambles and stuff in there. That's why I liked it, because you were actually pulling yourself up on these rocks and stuff. I thought that was so neat. And I did sunrise hikes there. I mean, I loved going to that spot. Did I ever go and hike on the Appalachian Trail? That was like 30 minutes from my house growing up. Never. Yeah. Not one time did I go on there and hike at all. Kind of played around in Shenandoah a little bit. I mean, along the Blue Ridge Parkway there, and there's a bunch of waterfall hikes over there, which were my favorite. I really wasn't a long distance hiker. If there was a waterfall and it was a warm day, that was where I wanted to be, because then I could go and walk for a little while and then go for a swim and go back, and that was perfect for me.
Super cool.
Yeah.
When did you eventually find out about the Appalachian Trail? Do you remember a singular moment?
A friend of mine, his trail name is Top Peak. I was in the military with him in 2018, 2019-ish, and he told me that he was telling stories about doing this hike. And I was like, oh, that's really neat. Like, maybe one day I'll do something like that. And that was it. He would just tell me stories, and I thought they were super cool, but there was no thought there at all about doing it. It was just like, oh yeah, maybe. One of those.
Gotcha. So you mentioned that you were in the military. What branch?
The Coast Guard.
Coast Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that experience? How long were you in?
Sure. 4 years and 9 months. Actually, just my last day of active duty was December 19th of this past year. And I came out here and started hiking on February 26th. So it was, I'm not really sure how to explain the feelings and like everything that was going on between being in the military and being here now. But I left the military because I wasn't doing it for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I applaud those who do that, what I did, the military in general, for a career. I think that's amazing and rock on, but it wasn't for me. Just nothing. Don't want to say anything negative about it. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I understand. At the time, it's what you wanted to do, and you did it, and I'm sure you've gained a lot of valuable insight and experience through those years. I have a lot of admiration for the Coast Guard. I grew up in South Florida, so I spent a lot of time on the ocean, and I had mostly positive experience with those guys, and they sure do help out a lot, especially with boaters who are a bit of novices, who go out, aren't prepared, and end up in trouble. You guys definitely come to the rescue a lot. How do you feel, and I asked this question to the last person I interviewed, how do you feel maybe that experience might have prepared you for this one? Or do you think that there is any correlation between the skills that you developed in your time and service helping you now?
Yes. Do I know exactly what ways? Not yet. I feel like I'll be able to figure them out eventually. I'm sure it has. I just haven't figured out how to put it into words yet, what I learned in the military and how it's helping me now. I'm sure it is, though, somehow. And I don't know, maybe somehow I'll be able to get back to you with exactly what that is. I would love to be able to. Hang on. Can I do this?
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to write this down really quick so
Cool.
I know that I need to think about that while I walk. All right, Bear. I will get back to you on that one.
That'd be great.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Once I figure out myself how it went, how it did. Because I'm still kind of bitter. I'm still a little bit bitter about my last couple of years in the Coast Guard. And so I feel like everything that I have to say about the Coast Guard isn't in a good light, but I don't think that it's going to be that way forever. And I would like to express how I really feel about it once I've processed everything and can look at it as more of a positive experience than a negative one.
I think that's a good approach. I can't speak for being in the service, but I know that time does help mend wounds. So let's go back a little bit. Your buddy of yours telling you about the Appalachian Trail. You didn't think much of it at the time.
Nope.
When did the inspiration come?
It was so my sister, I was living in Florida. I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida. And my sister had just moved down to come and live with me. She moved down in May of last year. And at that point in time, she said she needed a change, and she was about to graduate from college. And she said, I can do the rest of my degree online. Can I come down and live with you? I need a break from Virginia. And I said, yes, of course. But at that time, I had already kind of been thinking about not renewing my enlistment. And so I told her, I said, you can come on down and live here, but I am going to move back to Virginia at the end of the year because I'm not renewing my contract. And so she moved down, and we were in the car one day. I remember we were about to turn left to go to the bank. I think that's where we were going. We were going to the bank or something. And I was like, Emily, do you want to hike the Appalachian Trail next year with me? And she goes, I mean, yeah. And I was like, Emily, I'm not kidding. Like, I think I really am going to do this. I mean, what else am I going to do? I'm leaving the military. I really don't know what I'm going to do after this. I really wasn't in a great mindset to really think about anything, I guess, societally, like, correct, like, the adult things that you're supposed to think about. Exactly. I was in no state of mind to think about any of those kinds of things. And it was random. We were just doing an everyday, like, little errand. And it was just, yeah, I want to do this. And she's like, oh yeah, let's do it. Well, she ended up not doing it with me, which is fine because she's going to meet me, I think, when hopefully, God willing, if I get to New England area, she's going to come and hike with me when I'm up there, so that would be really cool. But it was just a super, I don't know, an act of God. I mean, I'm not sure what it was, but that was May-ish of last year, and now I'm here.
Now you're here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the perfect place for you to be.
Yeah, thank you. I think so too.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular you think you're trying to get out of this experience?
My relationship with God, in whatever capacity that means. I'm thinking of the word I'm thinking of reset, just a new starting over. I'm doing this one task, or the only thing I have to focus on is not getting hurt and getting to Maine somehow. And being outside and stuff all the time, for me, I think that would be really helpful in order to figure out what I'm doing, what I'm going to do with this life, how I'm not going to waste it, and how I'm going to please God and my family, and I want them to be proud of me. I know they are, but I feel like this adventure that not a lot of people experience, which I totally think that people should experience this. I mean, holy cow, the people that are lost and not really sure where to go or what to do or how to even think about making those decisions, go for a walk.
I agree. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. You mentioned God. I'm not afraid to talk about, I guess, some of my own spiritual journey, my faith journey, and we don't have to get too much into it. But if you feel comfortable, would you maybe can you summarize your relationship with God?
I pray every day. I pray a lot for forgiveness. I'm working on praying for thankfulness, for gratefulness for things, for everything that I experience. I have faith, but it sometimes gets cloudy. And I want to figure out how to keep it clear and to trust God wholeheartedly. Because right now I don't think I do. And I'm still trying to figure out why that is and how to overcome that.
I love that. And I hope you find the answers along the way. Answers are sometimes hard to come by when it comes to, I shouldn't say things, but when it comes to God, God can be very mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to think that we're overlooking the mountains, and it's this beautiful day in Hiawassee, Georgia, that a lot of his craftsmanship is here in front of us, and it's
Mm-hmm.
easy to see him, at least directly, in that way, through his creation out here. So I think that's pretty cool. So you've made it here
Mm-hmm.
to mile 69. I noticed as you were wandering around yesterday at the Outfitters here at Around the Bend Hostel you're changing out some gear, or at the very least, we're recommending you change out of some gear. Do you want to maybe explain that process, what that was like for you?
Oh, that was horrifying. Not horrifying, that's not the right word. But it was, well, Gordon put me through the ringer, which is fine, even though a lot of stuff that I did switch out, like the water filter. I got a different one because I guess it was too big. I switched out, I had a tarp and a shower curtain that I had used to make my footprint for my tent because the regular, just the shower curtain wasn't long enough. And I switched that out with that Tyvek paper. What else did I get? I had a lot of weapons. My mom gave me a stun gun.
For somebody?
Well, it was, I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into. My parents were terrified. People have died here at the hands, not here in this spot, but have died on the trail at the hands of somebody else. And so it was, you know, you never know. I also come from a family of bring it just in case. And so I had a lot of just in case things. Too many pairs of clothes. A Leatherman, which I still have. I took it back. I'm going to replace it eventually, but not yet. But my bag was 33 to 35-ish pounds. And I actually just weighed it a little bit ago, and it was at 26.
Oh, give me 1 second. I just got a Charlie horse.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Golly. Sorry.
It's all right, Bear. Are you drinking enough water?
That's exactly the point. I didn't drink enough water. Just a tip for the folks at home, hydrate or dihydrate. Okay, I think I'm good now. Jesus. All right. As you were saying.
The process was, I mean, I really didn't think that 33 pounds was all that heavy, to be honest with you. I mean, I kind of was just dealing with it because I never knew if I were to need stuff. I mean, I had a 60-inch umbrella or whatever it is, or however big it is. And it's come in handy like a few times. I would have gotten soaked if I didn't have it. But of course, it ended up breaking up there in the parking lot yesterday. So I guess that was God saying that it didn't need to go. It was a gift from my dad, and he was so jazzed when he bought it. And so I had to bring it for as long as I possibly could. I was really hoping that I would make it to the end with that umbrella. I thought that would have been so epic.
It was predestined.
Exactly. So really just, I was kind of not bummed. That's not the right word either. It was a new experience for me, really. Being someone who is pretty self-sufficient and can manage, I don't know, I'd like to say a little bit of everything. And having someone be like, hey, you don't need to have this. You could have this instead because it's lighter. Like every little bit of weight adds up to something, which I didn't take all that seriously because I was like, I'm the one carrying it. What's the big deal if I'm carrying more weight than I technically should? Well, the thing for me that kind of did it was I have a hyperlight backpack, which really can only manage like 30 pounds or less. And I was carrying about 33 to 35 pounds in there, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's already, you can see the strain on the seams of the shoulder straps. And that's an almost $400 backpack. And sure, could I have sent it back to REI and gotten another one? Yeah, but that would have been a whole ordeal in itself. And I'd much rather do what I can now while I'm still like way early on, and maybe prevent injury or damage to gear that's a little bit more expensive, and then waiting until it's too late, I guess.
I think you're doing the right thing. I know it's hard. I mean, you wouldn't have brought the gear out here that you did unless you thought you needed it.
Yeah.
And so breaking through that barrier, especially when someone's telling you what you should or shouldn't do, sometimes that's hard because we all have pride to a certain extent. We all have a little bit of ego as well. So to be told that we shouldn't carry something that we thought we needed, that's tough. But what was your thought process trying to get past that?
Well, thank goodness Lisa said something. Lisa pipes in and says, we tend to pack away our fears. And I was like, that's interesting that you say that. Because I'm sitting here trying to hold on to this 6-liter water filter bag with my little mini Sawyer straw, little life straw thing on there. And I'm like, why do I want to keep this? What am I afraid of? I still don't really know. Not drinking enough water. I mean, I'm not sure what I was afraid of. And then stuff like all my weapons, like the stun gun and the Leatherman and whatever else I had in there. I mean, I still, and Gordon kind of helped me out. He's like, your trekking poles, that's your weapon. Someone comes at you, that end of your trekking pole is really sharp. I was like, okay. So really it was looking at all of the things that they were telling me I didn't need and processing what the fear was of why I wanted to keep it. And really at that point I started to realize, like, this is a new journey for you. This is something that you've never done before. Why not start off? Why not do it with a bunch of stuff that you not necessarily haven't, like, you've used it, but you haven't practiced with it. Just start fresh. Just go out there fresh and be a rookie and like figure it out and have people help you. And I guess like that kind of deal, I guess. Just because I don't like asking for help. I'm always, don't worry, I got it. I can do it. And so I guess maybe that's another fear in itself, is allowing, I think that's what this is about too, is allowing people to help you because they love doing it. And so why not let it happen?
Yeah. I love that. Well, that's a lot. I mean, you've only been out here for what, maybe a week?
Yeah, this will be the day 9. Yeah.
So day 9, and you've almost hiked an entire state. You're about to go into North Carolina soon. And it's a big learning curve out here. Within just 9 days, I'm sure you've learned a ton. I mean, what you were just talking about there, I mean, sometimes that takes people a lifetime to process and understand. But I tell people sometimes, like, this trail is kind of a microcosm of life, because you have to learn quickly. You're kind of born into the trail, and then eventually, you know, at least your hike will come to an end at Katahdin. And I have no doubt that you'll make it up there, because you're flexible.
Thank you.
You're adaptable. So many stubborn people come through this hostel.
Yeah.
And it's going back to that whole, okay, I don't feel the need to be helped. And, you know, I know what's best, and it's an ego thing. And I really appreciate that, that you're willing to learn, because I don't think it's the gear necessarily at the end of the day, or even your physical shape that gets people all the way through the end. I think most of it is attitude, and that's that's universal.
That's what that top peak It's so fun saying his trail name. That's what he said too. He said, hiking this thing is all mental. All of it. Like 5% is gear and stuff, but everything else is. It's attitude and how you think about stuff.
You're so you're going to be heading out here soon. Is there anything that, and I know we just talked about a lot, is there anything specifically that you've learned that really sticks out to you that you think you could share with others?
Have an open mind. Don't be judgmental. Go with the flow. Don't be in a rush. I mean, I have kind of a schedule, but if you take control of that and you know where you need to be and you know what time, what day you need to be there, like plan all that stuff out. And when I say plan it out, tentative plan, super rough, and then you work with it as you go. So flexibility with your plans and not getting upset if something doesn't go the way you thought it would, because you never know what direction you're going to be led into. And I think that's the beauty of being out here.
Pinto, you're awesome.
Hey, you are too, Bear.
Thank you for your time. I've learned so much about you in such a short amount of time.
Right on.
So I love these interviews. But I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
About to knock off Georgia, heading to North Carolina, and it's going to be a fun ride. Enjoy the journey.
Thank you very much, Bear.
Sweet.
Pleasure. Cool. Thank you. Nice. That was fun.